Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens Part 142 based on novel. So let's start. Yao Lao sat on the leader's seat in the spacious large hall. His eyes were shut. Vast and mighty spiritual strength vibrated around his body, causing the surrounding space to form some slight distortion. The current Yao Lao might not have a much greater spiritual strength than before, but the fluctuating spiritual strength gave one a feeling of being filled with life. It appeared as though it possessed an even greater liveliness than the spiritual strength of the past. Teacher, is it possible for you to replenish your essence spiritual aura? Xiao Yan, who had received the news, hurriedly walked into the large hall. His eyes glanced at Yao Lao on the leader's seat. With his current ability, Xiao Yan was naturally able to sense the change in Yao Lao's current spiritual strength. Immediately, he spoke in a joyous manner. Yao Lao slowly opened his eyes. He looked at Xiao Yan, who was swiftly walking over before smiling and nodding his head. He said, "The golden great soul baby fruit's medicinal effect is unexpectedly strong. My essence spiritual aura has once again recovered to the peak. Then the matter of refining a body can begin, right?" Xiao Yan spoke somewhat anxiously. "Refining a body still requires various different ingredients," Yao Lao smilingly replied. "You can rest assured. This disciple has already gathered all these ingredients during these years," Xiao Yan smilingly said. He flicked his finger and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. A dragon eye large medicinal pill was rotating and dripping. A pill fragrance that was so rich, it was impossible to recover, spread out from within it. This caused one's mind to be braced. "This is Tier 8 medicinal pill?" A surprise immediately surfaced in Feng Zunge's eyes as he said when he looked at the medicinal pill. "Yes, moreover, it is a Tier 8 medicinal pill that has experienced 5 pill lightning." Yao Lao nodded slowly. He immediately revealed the number of pill lightning colors that this medicinal pill had experienced. Immediately, he looked at Xiao Yang in a pleased manner and said, "Your alchemist skill has not been neglected during these years. Ha ha, old fellow, you can rest assured about this. Xiao Yang is also a pill-gathering champion. He is not any lousier than you when you were young." Feng Zunge fondled his beard and laughed out loud. "Teacher, this is the bone-growing blood-fusing pill." Xiao Yang's finger was gently flicked onto the jade bottle and the latter slowly drifted in front of Yao Lao. Immediately, Xiao Yang took out another transparent jade bottle again. There was a couple of green-red drops of blood within the jade bottle. A frighteningly pure energy spread from within it. This is the essence blood of a heaven demon phoenix. It might lack in quantity, but it will be of big use," Xiao Yang smilingly said. This was naturally the essence blood that Xiao Yang had refined from the heaven demon phoenix bones back then. "As for a skeleton, I have one that belongs to the peak of the Dozone class," Xiao Yang waved his hand randomly. A corpse that was sealed in ice appeared within the large hall. The only one amongst these 3 ingredients that Xiao Yang was dissatisfied with was this skeleton. If it was in the past, he might feel a little joy at the skeleton of someone at the peak of the Dozone class. However, with the rise in his level, a skeleton of such a strength was no longer able to attract Xiao Yang's notice. "If it is a skeleton, I do have one that belongs to a 4-star Dozone here," Feng Zunge by the side laughed. He waved his sleeve and a coffin landed on the ground. There was a pale grey skeleton within the coffin. A faint fluorescence was flowing over the body of the skeleton. "This is an enemy of mine in the past. He subsequently died in my hands. I was afraid that no one would deal with his corpse, so I ended up helping him keep it." Xiao Yan was involuntarily a little speechless when he heard Feng Zunge's casual tone. It seemed that Feng Zunge possessed quite a great enmity with this person. Otherwise, he would not deal with the other person's corpse. All of these 3 ingredients are of top quality. The materials that we refine from them should be able to allow Yao Chen to recover to his previous peak strength. However, I wonder if he will be able to break through the Dozun class and reach the Doshan class. Feng Zunge fondled his beard and voiced his thoughts. "Difficult." Yao Lao shook his head. Dozun and Doshan were 2 completely different levels. An elite Dozun could be considered a true top-tier expert in the continent. A Doshan, on the other hand, stood at the peak of a golden pagoda. Given the foundation of the Central Plains, elite Dozuns could be considered few, but they were not especially rare. However, an elite Doshan was entirely different. Just take Xiao Yang as an example. Despite him having arrived at the Central Plains for so many years, he had yet to meet a genuine elite Doshan. Of course, the precondition of this was that one did not include the Dosheng skeleton that Xiao Yan had met in the ancient remains. That thing merely had a little remnant elite Dosheng spirit. It could not be considered a true expert. Even though this was the case, the skeleton that had lost traces of life caused Xiao Yang, Old Ghost Zhaixing, and the other experts to appear extremely miserable. They nearly ended up falling in an unexpected situation. Through this case, it was possible to vaguely observe just how frightening a genuine Dosheng was. That level truly possessed the great might to destroy the heavens and earth. Since the ingredients are all gathered, we should act tomorrow. The earlier Yao Chen recovers his peak strength, the less the Falling Star Pavilion needs to worry about the revenge by the Hall of Soul. A branch hall of the Hall of Soul was destroyed and it was taken advantage of within the ancient remains. Given the way the Hall of Soul does things, it would definitely not easily swallow such a great loss. Feng Zunja voiced his thoughts. Yes? Xiao Yang and Yao Lao nodded. Currently, everything might appear calm, but it was obvious that this was the calm before the storm. After deciding with Yao Lao on the time to refine a body, Xiao Yang returned to his quarters due to it being late. Once he returned to his room, he sat on the bed and mused for a moment. He flipped his hand and 3 jade white ribs appeared within his palm. The 3 ribs were naturally those that Xiao Yang had ripped from the skeleton. Inside it hid the secrets of the Qian class Do technique. However, ever since he returned to the Falling Star Pavilion, he had yet to carefully observe it due to him busily removing the poison from Qing Lin. After hearing Feng Zunja mention the matter of the Hall of Soul taking revenge soon, his heart had also become a little pressured. When faced with such a large faction, he must ultimately raise his own combat strength. The best method to raise one's fighting strength was naturally to practice high-class Do techniques. The legendary Qian class Do technique was very strong. Even at this moment, Xiao Yang was unable to forget the terrifying strength that was created when the Dosheng skeleton had unleashed the Qian class Do technique back then. The ribs felt cool when it entered Xiao Yang's hands. It did not possess the kind of rough feeling of a bone. Instead, it appeared just like a perfect jade when one touched it, appearing smooth and cool, giving one an extremely wonderful feeling. The ribs were covered by tiny mysterious characters. These characters were unusually mysterious. It gave one an obscure feeling. Xiao Yan carefully observed the 3 ribs in detail. He remembered those mysterious characters in his mind, but he was unable to decipher them. Looks like an ordinary method will not be able to open these ribs. Xiao Yan's face revealed an expression of deep thought. A moment later, he placed the ribs gently on his forehead. Spiritual strength spread out. However, it was directly reflected back when it touched the ribs. Xiao Yan was immediately startled before he sighed in relief. There is actually a seal on the surface of the bone. Xiao Yan clenched his hand after he had this thought. Purple-brown flame curled and rose from his palm. After which, it wrapped around 3 white jade-like ribs. A frightening temperature swiftly caused the air within the room to become dry. The frightening flame crazily grilled the bone. However, this seemingly weak bone did not move even a little. Its color did not even change a little. Xiao Yang was not surprised at this situation. If it was so easy to break a seal placed by an elite Dosheng, it would appear far too much like child's play. Xiao Yang maintained a calm mood. He steadily allowed the 3000 lotus heart flame to continue grilling the 3 ribs. He slowly shut his eyes and actually directly entered his training mode. The purple-brown flame burned fiercely within the room. The 3 ribs within it also vaguely emitted a faint glow. This grilling continued from the evening to late into the night, lasting for nearly 10 hours. Under the crazy burning by the 3000 lotus heart flame, the 3 ribs gradually changed a little. The kind of jade-white color also slowly became pale. A kind of deep dark golden color replaced it. If one was to look carefully, one would find a strange ripple quietly spreading under the golden light. A strange sound of flowing liquid was suddenly emitted from within the quiet room. Xiao Yan's tightly shut eyes were also slowly opened at this moment. His eyes looked towards the flame in front of him before becoming startled. The flame at this moment no longer had any traces of the ribs within. Only a strange dark golden liquid remained. The liquid slowly flowed within the flame. It appeared to possess its own intelligence and would occasionally gather into various strange shapes. Was this the manner after the seal has been opened? Xiao Yan muttered softly. He hesitated for a moment before inhaling a deep breath of somewhat dry air. His hand was gently extended. After which, it reached into the flame and paused for a moment. Finally, a finger was inserted into the dark golden liquid. Xiao Yang's finger was inserted into the liquid and a change occurred. One could see the liquid suddenly wiggling intensely. After which, it firmly winded around Xiao Yang's finger. It wrapped around his entire hand in an instant. Hiss! The dark golden liquid wrapped around Xiao Yang's right hand. An intense pain that could not be contained was suddenly transmitted from his palm. This caused Xiao Yang's face to twitch. After being wrapped by the dark golden liquid, his hand actually began to wiggle strangely. The sound of bone being pressed together that was also emitted. My hand is about to be crippled. The squeezing feeling became increasingly intense. Just when Xiao Yan thought that his hand would be squeezed until it was shattered, the intense pain suddenly came to a halt. The dark golden liquid also flowed into his hand like floodwater and swiftly disappeared. Xiao Yan did not even have the time to be stunned by this strange scene before his head suddenly shook at this moment. A golden light vaguely surfaced in his eyes. A low and deep muttered sound was also emitted from his mouth. This is Great Heaven Creation Palm. An explosion sounded deep within Xiao Yan's mind. His soul also trembled intensely at this moment. Immediately, his gaze gradually became blurry. By the time he recovered, he discovered that he was within a mysterious realm. This space was not very big and there was also not the slightest life force within this empty space. Xiao Yan's eyes swept around a little. After which, they suddenly paused on a certain spot in the empty space. An extremely ordinary figure was standing with his hands behind him at that spot. Xiao Yan was basically unable to sense even the slightest aura or do qi trace from that body. That manner was as though he was just a normal person. However, this feeling that he got from his sight caused Xiao Yan's heart to become increasingly grave. How could an ordinary person appear in this kind of mysterious place? If he guessed correctly, this figure should be the true owner of the remain. This place should be a memory space that is hidden within the Do technique. This figure is also not a genuine elite Do Shen. Instead, it is merely a memory fragment of his. Xiao Yan fell into a deep thought as he looked at the figure. With his current experience, he would naturally not be surprised. After musing for a moment, he clearly grasped this human figure's background. It was just as Xiao Yan had expected. This figure did not glance towards Xiao Yan. Soon after the latter entered this realm, a calm water-like voice slowly resounded within this space. Great Heaven Creation Palm, Tian Class La Level Do Technique. It is created by this saint by using all of my strength to merge 100 Do techniques. This palm technique pays attention to the meaning of creation. Using a palm to break the sky and strength to shatter everything. Xiao Yan's eyes became increasingly bright when he heard that calm voice that seemed to speak to itself. Tian Class Do Technique, exceeding the ordinary and surpassing a saint. By being able to obtain the secret hidden by this saint in the bones, you can be considered a person of affinity. Since you have obtained the bones, your hand should have been refined by the golden spirit saliva. Remember, the Great Heaven Creation Palm can only be successfully used by a hand that has been refined. Otherwise, one will definitely encounter a backlash. Xiao Yan was startled when he heard this. He immediately fell into a deep thought. That intense pain from earlier was actually that so-called golden spirit saliva refining his own palm. It is indeed worthy of being a Tian Class Do techniques. It actually requires this process in order to obtain a complete inheritance. Xiao Yan shook his head in surprise. If he skipped that refinement step, he would likely not dare to unleash this so-called Great Heaven Creation Palm even if he successfully learned it. The Great Heaven Creation Palm possessed the strength of creation. After that calm voice slowly sounded, a faint light suddenly erupted from the figure's body. That body also swiftly turned transparent. It revealed an extremely clear vein root within it. A trace of dark golden energy shuttled through these veins and outlined an extremely strange vein root. This is the meridian root of the Great Heaven Creation Palm. A joy suddenly surged within Xiao Yan's eyes when he saw this scene. He hurriedly focused his mind and firmly remembered the root of the energy within his mind. That vein root was circulated a couple of times before it slowly faded away. Fortunately, this circulation route had already been firmly remembered in Xiao Yan's mind. After the vein root faded away, the light glow within the figure's body also once again disappeared. A dark golden light slowly brightened. Immediately, a hand was swung out and it heavily landed on the empty space. Bang! The palm fell and a frightening energy immediately swept out like a storm. An enormous black-colored light circle was once again formed under that human figure's palm. The light circle was formed. after which it scattered apart with lightning-like speed. The surrounding space appeared like a glass that had been forcefully scattered. It fell apart almost instantly. Xiao Yan inhaled a deep breath of air as he looked at the black light circle that rapidly spread apart within his eyes. He did not reveal any expression of panic. Instead, he pointed towards the figure within the dark black light circle from a great distance and bowed. Destined person, remember this saint name, Saint Zhao Hua, creation. A faint voice suddenly resounded within Xiao Yan's mind like a thunder. The figure also became gradually faded within the dark black light circle. Finally, it completely vanished. The final figure that an elite Dosheng had left behind in this world disappeared in this manner. Xiao Yan nodded quietly. He allowed the dark black light circle to charge over and shatter his body. Xiao Yan's tightly shut eyes were suddenly opened in his room. A turbid breath slowly followed his throat before being exhaled. He muttered, Saint Zhao Hua. Xiao Yan muttered a little before he completely awakened a moment later. His eyes looked towards his right hand and saw that this right hand currently possessed a vague dark golden light that appeared like metal. Sinking his mind into his body, Xiao Yan began to roam around his right hand. Immediately, he was surprised to discover that a couple of extremely covert veins in the interior of the right hand seemed to have been opened. These veins were connected to each other, appearing like a strange cycle. It appeared exceptionally mysterious when one looked at it. Xiao Yan recalled a little as he watched these couple looping of tiny veins. Only then did he discover that the path which the vein was looping around were at the most critical positions. In other words, without the direction from these few looping veins, any attempt to forcefully use the great heaven creation palm would only lead to the vast and mighty energy gathering at one's palm without being able to be released from one's body. It was like a bottle becoming increasingly bloated with air. It would sooner or later explode. At that time, the arm of the person unleashing it would likely be completely shattered. No wonder it said that only a palm that had been refined by the golden spiritual saliva can use it. It is actually because of this. Xiao Yan felt a sudden understanding within his heart. He immediately sighed quietly. He was indeed worthy of being an elite Dosheng of a certain generation. He was actually able to create such a mysterious method. There were tens of thousands of meridians within one's body with endless number of secretive veins. It was not an easy matter to open a useful vein. However, I wonder if I can use this great heaven creation palm now? Xiao Yan's eyes vaguely contained a heat dancing within it. This palm's might was something that he had personally witnessed within the ancient remains back then. Quite a number of experts present had died under this palm. If it was not because Xiao Yan's group had fled quickly, it was likely that the result would be difficult to predict. Xiao Yan's heart greatly coveted the great heaven creation palm at that day. Now, he had luckily managed to learn it. How could his heart calm down? Rubbing his hands together, Xiao Yan leaped down from the bed and stood straight within the room. He inhaled a deep breath of air. The Do Chi within his body followed the memory path within his mind and began to slowly rotate. The Do Chi was circulated extremely slowly initially. Moreover, the path was also quite complicated. Quite a number of mistakes occurred during this period of time. Fortunately, Xiao Yan reacted quickly. Once he discovered that the path was wrong, he would immediately scatter his Do Chi. This prevented him from suffering any injuries. After experiencing a couple of failures, Xiao Yan also gradually became familiar with it. An hour or so later, he had finally successfully completely a vein circulation. The moment that he completed the circulation, Xiao Yan's arm trembled suddenly. A dark golden light suddenly surged. Immediately, he was stunned to discover that the Do Chi within his body was flowing like floodwater. The direction that it was flowing towards was his right hand. What a frightening Do Chi exhaustion! Even with Xiao Yan's strength, his expression involuntarily changed when he sensed the rate at which his Do Chi was exhausted. This Jian-class Do technique was actually a glutton that was not full no matter how one fed it. With an increasing amount of Do Chi gathered on Xiao Yan's palm, the dark golden light also became increasingly strong. A moment later, a black glow finally appeared in the middle of the golden light when it had soared to the limit. A frightening suction force surged out the moment the black glow appeared. The surrounding dark golden light was swallowed into the black glow within the blink of an eye. It also gradually became bigger at this moment. What a terrifying energy! After having personally used this great heaven creation palm, Xiao Yan finally completely comprehended its terror. Immediately, his expression changed a little. This was the falling star pavilion. There were elders and disciples of the Falling Star Pavilion around his room. If this palm was to be released, it was likely that no life would remain within a 100-meter radius. Some cold sweat surfaced on Xiao Yan's forehead when he sensed this. He inhaled a couple of deep breaths and forcefully halted the exhaustion of Do Qi within his body. He immediately clenched his palm slightly. That peach-sized black glow shook for a moment when his hand was clenched. Finally, it slowly became pale under Xiao Yan's shocked eyes. It eventually turned into Do Qi once again and surged into Xiao Yan's body. Xiao Yan heaved a long sigh of relief as he sensed the enormous Do Qi that once again recovered within his body. He rubbed the cold sweat on his forehead, raised his right hand and looked over with stunned eyes. A moment later, he parted his mouth and laughed. This was because the thing that he needed to practice this great heaven creation palm was already preset by that same Jiao Hua. Hence, the speed at which he mastered this Jian class Do technique had basically far exceeded the other Do techniques. It must be said that this was indeed a great blessing. Great heaven creation palm, ha ha, I wonder how interesting old ghost Shaixing's expression will be should he see this Do technique the next time I meet him. Xiao Yan smiled slightly after gently rubbing his right hand together. A cold glint flickered within his dark black eyes. This great heaven creation palm will be the sickle that would take the life of the old ghost the next time they meet. The interior of the stone tower at the back mountain of the Falling Star Pavilion during the morning of the next day. Teacher, the body refinement will begin soon. Are you ready? Xiao Yang took out the 4-star Do Sun skeleton of Feng Zunzhe and placed it gently on the stone platform. After which, his gaze turned towards Yao Lao by the side and spoke. Yes. Yao Lao nodded in a solemn manner. Despite his state of mind, a ripple had involuntarily appeared in his heart at this moment. Old Feng, the body refinement and the merging process this time around might require a period of time. Do not allow anyone to enter the stone tower during this period of time. Xiao Yang turned his gaze, looked at Feng Zunzhe by the side again and spoke in a deep voice. You can rest assured that the Falling Star Pavilion will enter into a cautious state once you begin. The experts that have gone out will also be summoned back. Feng Zunzhe's face was grave as he nodded. Should Yao Lao recover his peak strength, the Falling Star Pavilion would be able to strengthen rapidly. At that time, it would be able to possess some ability to resist the vengeance by the Hall of Soul. Hence, nothing must be allowed to go wrong. Xiao Yang nodded slightly. He gradually calmed his mind. A moment later, he inhaled a deep breath of air. He flicked his finger. The jade bottle that contained the bone-growing blood-fusing pill slowly drifted towards Yao Lao. Yao Lao was naturally extremely familiar with these steps. He did not hesitate even a little as he extended his hand and received the jade bottle. After which, a thought passed through his heart. A wisp of spirit flew out and lingered beside Xiao Yang. Feng Zunzhe and Little Fairy Doctor's group exchanged gazes when they saw that Xiao Yunna and Yao Chen had begun. They quietly left the stone tower without even emitting the slightest unusual sound that could interrupt those two. Everyone withdrew without causing Xiao Yang's attention to be split. The latter's expression was solemn. He grabbed the wisps of soul beside him before slamming his palm on the skeleton lying on the stone platform, forcefully slamming the soul into the skeleton. Teacher, I will first refine the body. Once I succeed, you will be able to enter it and complete the merger step. Xiao Yan cried out in a low voice. He clenched his hand and a jade bottle appeared within his hand. Green-red blood slowly flowed within the jade bottle. A frightening energy fluctuation also spread from within it, causing this entire space to continue vibrating. This time around, Xiao Yan had prepared top-quality items in order to refine a body for Yao Lao. Hence, the difficulty of the refinement would far exceed that from when he had helped Jian Huazunja. Go? Xiao Yan beckoned with his finger. The green-red blood within the jade bottle shot out. Finally, it scattered on the greyish-white bones. Immediately, waves of white smoke erupted. A hissing sound continued to appear. The green-red color swiftly scattered when the green-red blood touched the greyish-white skeleton. Within the blink of an eye, the color of the skeleton had turned from grey to white, transforming into a beautiful green-red color. Moreover, the skeleton also emitted a rich energy ripple. Xiao Yang raised his hand upon seeing this. The green-red skeleton suspended in the air by itself. He waved his sleeve and the purple-brown flame surged out immediately, wrapping around the skeleton. The essence blood of the heaven demon phoenix was extremely overbearing. Moreover, it also had difficulty merging. Hence, he must use the heavenly flame to grill this energy deep into every bone of this skeleton. Only then would the skeleton be allowed to absorb all of these shocking energy. With this fierce grilling from the flame, a slight green-red light also appeared on the green-red bone. Even though this was the case, the high temperature that had seeped in still caused the surface of the skeleton to form a slight bubble. Occasionally, the bubble would burst and a rich energy would spread. This kind of tempering and grilling was a process that exhausted a great amount of time. Hence, it continued for nearly an entire day before Xiao Yan finally slowly opened his tightly shut eyes. At this moment, the green redness on the skeleton had undoubtedly become much dimmer. It no longer possesses the bright color from before. Xiao Yan clearly understood that this was because that energy had gradually seeped deep into the skeleton under the high temperature. Xiao Yan let out a long breath. He glanced at Yao Lao beside him and the latter nodded with a slight smile. Xiao Yan's current flame control had undoubtedly advanced very greatly when compared to back then. It could likely even be comparable to his level. This caused Yao Lao to feel pleased. Although he also valued Xiao Yan's strength, he was after all an alchemist. The pale refinement ability of his disciple was something that he paid most attention to. Xiao Yan also smiled when he saw that pleased expression of Yao Lao. He had just kept the flame when he suddenly thought of something. After hesitating for a moment, he slowly walked towards the stone platform. After which, he violently broke the right arm of the skeleton in front of Yao Lao's uncertain eyes. Huh? Yao Lao was startled when he saw Xiao Yan's action. He did not understand the reason for it. Try this, Xiao Yan smiled. He took out the Dosheng right arm which he had obtained from the ancient remains, from his storage ring. After which, it was joined onto the right shoulder of the skeleton. Although the size was not very suitable, the two quickly merged completely together after the trimming from Xiao Yan's flame. Dosheng arm? Yao Lao's eyes were outstanding. He saw the jade white bone arm and his expression changed. A shocked expression surged up his eyes. Yes. I have obtained it from the ancient remains. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. He said, regardless of whether this thing is of any use, its hardness is completely up to standard. The hardness of the Dosheng skeleton was something that Xiao Yan had personally witnessed. This thing definitely possessed its extraordinary point. However, he did not wish to leave it for his own use. Moreover, he was unable to use it even if he wanted to. It was impossible for him to cut his own arm for this thing before joining it to him. He was also uncertain if any sequelae would occur because of it. If it really did exist, he would end up losing more than he has gained. The current Yao Lao did not possess this kind of worry. He did not possess a body. This new body would gradually perfectly merge with him once he entered it. The arm would also truly belong to him in the future? Yao Lao nodded slightly. Placing a Dosheng arm during this body refinement step was also something that he had never heard before. However, since it was something belonging to a Dosheng, it should be quite useful. It might even become an opportunity for him to break through to a Dosheng in the future. After directly connecting the arm onto the skeleton, Xiao Yan once again used the 3000 Lotus Heart Flame to refine it for a while. He finally nodded after the bone hand and the skeleton was perfectly connected. After a long period of refinement, that grayish-white skeleton had also undergone a drastic change in appearance. Its entire body was green and red. Although his right hand still possessed a jade-white color, the end of the arm also had some green-red color adhering onto it. The two had completely merged together under the grilling from the 3000 Lotus Heart Flame. Teacher. Xiao Yan's expression also became serious when he saw this scene. He cried out in a deep voice. Yes. Yao Lao nodded. With his old sharp eyes, he was naturally aware that now was the best opportunity. Immediately, he swiftly took out that bone-growing blood-fusing pill from the jade bottle and swallowed it. His body swiftly turned illusory, transforming into a ray of light that rushed into the skeleton. Bang! The skeleton trembled violently when Yao Lao's soul merged into the skeleton. Those empty eye sockets gradually possessed a glow. At the same time, a frightening mysterious energy spread out from the interior of the skeleton. Under this energy, some mysterious flesh had actually begun to appear on the skeleton. The flesh was grown on the white bones. This miracle was naturally brought by the bone-growing blood-fusing pill. Teacher, endure on. Xiao Yan's face had become grave as he saw the swiftly wiggling flesh being formed on the skeleton. He let out a low cry and the purple flame that wrapped around the skeleton immediately burned fiercely. Under the burning of this flame, the blood and flesh that had just been formed were actually being incinerated into ashes. However, when the ash scattered, a frightening mysterious energy once again spread out. The rate at which the flesh grew became increasingly quick. At the end, it was possible to see the rapid wiggling of the flesh granulation. A blood-blurry human outline was swiftly taking shape. This burning and growth continued for nearly 10 hours. The skin structure of the flesh was completely formed under the grilling of the flame. Following the birth of flesh, the skeleton on the stone platform had also completely turned into a human form. Subsequently, all that remained was to wait for Yao Lao to completely merge with this body. After which, that Yao Zunsha, who had stunned the continent back then, would be truly able to revive from the bath of flames. At the same time, an enormous black large hall crept like a fierce beast from the ancient times within the deep mountains in the western region of the Central Plains. A frightening energy ripple that could chill one's heart spread vaguely. Black fog suddenly surged out from all directions within the large hall. A moment later, the black fog gathered. It transformed into many black figures that stood in the empty air. Powerful dark chilling aura swept over this entire place. Welcome Ninth Tianzuan. Many black figures appeared. Immediately, they knelt down in the sky. Their respectful voice immediately resounded over this entire place. During the time that these black shadows were kneeling, the entire space also slowly became distorted. A moment later, a blue figure slowly appeared. A faint voice also sounded along with it. Do all of you still remember the mission this time around? Destroy the Falling Star Pavilion, capture Xiao Yan and Yao Chen. Nearly 100 orderly loud cries simultaneously sounded. Yes, let's get moving. The blue figure nodded slightly. Immediately, his feet gently stepped on the ground. His body moved and slowly disappeared. When this blue figure disappeared, an elder, who was leading the black-clothed people, also raised his head. Surprisingly, it was old ghost Shai Xing. At this moment, his eyes turned towards the northern sky. A ferocious expression surfaced on his face. Xiao Yan, the old me will see just who will rescue you this time around. This video will end here.